how to list the slides, sorry. I'm trying to move the slides. One second.
Come here. Ma'am, good evening. Shall we help you with the PPT?
Can you do this? I will start it again. Just give me a moment.
Okay.
Sorry for this pause.
It's okay. Please take your time.
Okay, I will start it again. Okay, I will do like this. Okay. First of all, there are only nearly 200 plants which are included in Russian official pharmacopoeia, because to do this, to include the plant to the official medicine practice, we need to do a lot of research. We need to prove every feature of the plant to do this. But there are more than 3,000 plants, I guess much more than that, which are used in folk medicine as a practical knowledge. Maybe as Dr. Nandi says at the beginning, like practical knowledge. And there are nearly 400 plants which are included in official pharmacopoeia of former USSR countries. Also, I would like to mention that Russia, of course, has a big territory and different climate zones, and some regions of Russia have its own language, like we do in India, in different states, and different culture, different healing tradition. So in the north here, in Komi, Yamal, Taimeria, Yakutia, Chukotka, it's more like shamanic practices, and it's a very cold climate, polar night and polar day. So I'm not very much specialist in this type of medicine. I won't speak about that part. And also in here in the south, you can see Altai, Tiva republics. There are also shamanic practices popular here, more like yagis, you know, and but herbs growing there are mostly the same, which are in the middle part of Russia. And in the east, there are more Chinese influence of the TCM. And I would speak about Slovenian folk medicine, which is popular in the middle part of the Russia. And I would like to tell that in tradition, it usually was women healers. For example, here in the photo, it's my grandmother, Anastasia. She was such a healer. Although maybe a little more than 100 years ago, every woman in Russia could be a doctor for her family, and she need to treat her family with herbs from the forest. But she was a healer in her village and in the nearest villages. And every morning there was a queue of the patients near her house. And I would like to tell here that there is not only herbs we use in such tradition, also we use rituals and some special combination of words. For the modern people, this combination of words could be senseless, but my grandmother teach me some of these practices, and I can tell you that practically it works. But I won't speak about that here, just about herbal therapy, but I just want to mention that folk medicine uses different levels. It's psychic level and it's level of physical body. But there was no understanding of a human in holistic approach like we do in Ayurveda. There is no Vata, Pitta, Kapha. Usually they treat some diseases symptomatically. But from the other hand, one herb could be used in many cases. Also, I would like to mention that there are some traces of Ayurveda in Russia, and it came through Himalayan mountains and via Mongolia. And we have a region named Buryatia, where mostly live Buryat people. They are relative to Mongolian people, and they're Buddhists. And they're practicing Tibetan medicine, so they have understanding of 3 doshas and all the concept of Ayurveda. And this Buryatia is the Buddhist center of Russia. And in this region, there is a cross-cultural exchange happens somehow. So in these temples, Buddhist temples, the monks, during a few centuries, they studied Russian herbs, Russian plants from the Ayurvedic position. Experimentally, practically, they studied Rasa, Guna, Virya, Vipaka of Russian herbs, and they have accumulated some knowledge about them, about this. And it's a very important task if we all know about it, that we don't know Ayurvedic features of Western herbs. There is a scientist, Ayurvedic specialist in Switzerland, Andreas Smith, who wrote Dravya for Westerners. He tried to connect Ayurveda, Western phytotherapy, and TCM in his book, and it's a very useful book. And Dr. Oleg Sorokin in Russia translated his book, and now it's almost finished but not published yet. But anyway, in Russia we have the centers that have such an important knowledge, but it's sacred, kind of sacred. And to get this knowledge, you need to go to this temple and study from these monks. I did not for now, but in Veda education, in Russian Association, Ayurvedic Association, we would like to invite some specialists to share this wonderful knowledge with Ayurvedic community. Also, in Buryatia, there is a famous lake Baikal, and it has unique flora, endemic flora. For example, this herb is very popular in Russia. It's from Baikal Lake, and it's used widely. We drink it as a tea. We add it a little bit to our herbal tea. It's very popular, and it's used as a tonic. So it can be used for hypertensive states, and it's immunostimulating. And this is very beautiful in the spring. Also, I would like to mention the types of preparation that we ordinarily use. Fresh plant, we use juice, hydrolyzed and powder. That mostly we use for external application, and more often we use the decoction, infusion, and alcohol tincture. That's the most popular forms. Churna we usually don't use inside for internal application. Mostly like lepa in some preparations. Also, I would like to mention some herbs which grow in Russia. This list could be prolonged, I believe, because these herbs which easily came to my mind. And here are the herbs and some food items which can be used in as a medicine and substances. For example, we have Shilajit here. We have very beautiful Altai mountains. I already mentioned it. And there is Shilajit. We called it Mumyo. And the usage is pretty much the same as in Ayurveda, but we don't use it in obesity. So we don't in traditional medicine, in folk medicine, we don't know about these Kapkhahara features. Also, we use psyllium widely, but interesting thing that in Russia it usually and very widely used as a laxative, although it has grahi feature, because it have this enveloping and emollient features, and we usually use it for that purpose mostly. That's like controversial maybe, but I will mention the controversials just for the discussion. For some of them I don't have the answers, but it's anyway it's an interesting sharing experience. And we have gokshura here, and but mostly we use it for men, for testosterone normalizing, and it's widely used in sport medicine. So most people know these tributes we use in sportsmen, but herbal therapists also usually use it for men. Also, we have vacha here, Acorus calamus. It grows widely in Russia, and we use it in indigestion, jaundice, diarrhea, and also so there are correlations with Ayurveda. No contradiction I found there. This plant, chamomilla, ramashka we call it. It's the most popular plant, a medicinal plant in Russia. It is included in official pharmacopoeia, and you can buy it in every pharmacy. And actually, this plant we collect ourselves. It grows in the fields, and even when I was living in the third biggest city in Russia, in Novosibirsk, Siberia, I with my friends who has ordinary office jobs. In the summer, we can go to the field and collect some herbs, and chamomilla is one of them. and we dry it in the shadow and use in the winter as a tea, and you can find it in every home. I didn't find any correspondence with Ayurvedic plants here, but we use it for digestional disorders and in cold, so it's very popular. Also, we have St. John's wort, and we call it Zveroboy. That means that maybe it kills some bad flora in the stomach. So we use it in also gastrointestinal disorders, gastric ulcers, and we use it for gardening, and this is the second most popular plant which you can find in every home. Also in Russia we have pushkaramula, and it's quite famous, and you can find it in pharmacy as well. It included in pharmacopoeia, in official pharmacopoeia, and we use it in respiratory diseases, so it's close to the Ayurvedic use, kasa shvasa, and also we use it externally in skin diseases. We widely use berries in our folk medicine. We use it as a source of vitamins and as a home remedies. So if child has a cold, the first thing which mother will give will be raspberry. And we use berries, fruits itself, and leaves. For raspberry, we usually collect the leaves in summer and dry it, and in the winter we use it as a tea. It's the most popular berry. Also, this birch tree, bereza in Russia we call it, and this tree could be a symbol of Russia. So in fairy tales, pictures, in songs, folk songs, there is a birch tree everywhere. But we use it as a medicinal plant as well. We use leaves and buds. We use it usually for urinary disorders and for ears inflammation. Also, I would like to mention very popular plant, medicinal plant, Ivan chai. Chai means chai, tea. So we also collect it in summer, even those who live in a big city. Also, this plant people could grow in their private garden. A lot of my friends have it in their gardens. In Europe, as far as I know, it's forbidden because there is a coumarin substance that could accumulate in the liver. But I don't know why actually it's forbidden, because in Russia it's widely used, and but phytotherapists do not recommend it to drink it every day. Time to time, it's very popular, and we use it as immunomodulator, as tonic, and it activates metabolism in urological diseases, and we use it to normalize blood pressure It's widely used. And this plant also, it grows everywhere, and it can be used as a food item as well. And so my grandmother and I personally, I prepare a soup from it, and we use it as a source of vitamins. And the name itself means kra piva. Piva, it's something to drink. Kra means blood. So this plant drinks blood. But I'm not sure about Ayurvedic correspondence, because here you can see Ushna and Katu rasa, and it has Katu Vipaka according to Ayurvedic description. But we use it in bleeding conditions. This is first meaning. But also we use it in different other situations. But that's a point for the discussion. Maybe the correspondence is not correct. Dandelion, we use it also widely. It grows in a lot of parts of Russia, in a lot of regions, and we use it as a food as well, and as a medicinal plant. So we can do a salad from the leaves, and my mother-in-law cook pancakes from the flowers, and we can do a jam from its flowers. It's a regular practice, and it's a choleretic remedy. So we use it for the gallbladder, first of all, and also we use it for the skin diseases. And so we apply it for external use, especially milky juice of this plant. Also, we have here Pashanabheda. It grows in Altai mountains, and interesting thing that we use it of the blood pressure regulation and for the inflammation, but this Pashanabheda feature, breaking stones, usually we don't use, although we know about it, but in practice usually we don't. I don't know why, but as an Ayurvedic specialist, I prescribe this herb in the case of stones, of course under the ultrasound control, and in situation when it's could be applied. But that's interesting, and Ayurveda could be helpful to widen the view of some common plants in Russian herbal therapy for folk medicine practitioners, and it could be very helpful. This poison herb also used by the phytotherapists in Russia, and in Ayurveda it's used in rasa preparation. For example, Triphuan Kirtiras has this component, and we know that it's poison, and we use it in homeopathic doses, very small doses, in arrhythmia and in tuberculosis, and in severe conditions we use it. And I would like to tell you a very interesting thing, that also we use mushrooms in our practice. And I lived for a long time in Siberia, in a scientific town Koltsovo, and there is a very famous virusology and microbiology center. Vector is situated, and they have a very big virus library, and they do the researches, vaccines, and they found recently that chaga mushroom, which grows on birch tree especially, is effective in coronavirus. And they publish this article in Russian in November. They don't have yet English version, but I was trying to find some information on PubMed, and I've found the work of another groups of scientists which proves the same. And I'll give you a link here. So that's what is widely used now in Siberia. So in Siberia now it's New Year Eve, and it's frost. It's minus 42 now there, and it's pandemic situation there. And people use this chaga. They go to forest, to Aranya, collect this mushroom, and they prepare decoction and use it for the prophylaxis. Also, this chaga is helpful in prophylaxis of oncology. There are some researches proving that, and I would like to mention it because you have this tree in Himalayan. Maybe you have this mushroom as well. So that's all I would like to tell for now. Thank you for your attention.